But yeah, it was a really short chapter, 11 pages, when we've been getting, what, like 15, 17. We're also on a break next week, which is, I mean, that's my fault, guys. I jinxed us because I was like, wow, look at us. We're getting 3 chapters in a row, which we haven't had that in months, right? And then right after I say that, it's we get a break. That's fine. It's just a 1-week break. Lima, I've heard you talk about the elf boost being 100 times multiplier before. I'm not necessarily convinced on it. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty... Despite the chapter being short, it was short and sweet. Like, it was good. We get a little bit of a expanding on what Lucius is trying to do. I think we will get a lot more than this, because I don't think this is all that he's intending to do. Because this chapter kind of highlighted what his plans for the planet Earth is, whereas I think his plans are going to go well beyond that. There was interesting revelations from this chapter that definitely need to be talked about. Like, this chapter 100% confirmed that the Clover continent is actually connected to another landmass. So that's actually pretty interesting. That'll need to be talked about, but... yeah, let's just get into the review. This is going to be a shorter stream, by the way. Sorry, I have a lot of stuff to do today. But next week will be a lot more normal. And next week is actually going to be a stream with Rax on Wednesday, where we'll be discussing Lucifero versus Doom from Marshall. So, this is actually a decently emotional opening, where, like, this is after Asta's defeated Lily. And it was essentially confirmed. Like, I was hoping that the chapter, or that the fight would continue this chapter. I wanted more than just a 1-chapter fight for Asta versus Lily. But, whatever. But we get actually some background and some development on Sister Lily. So I think it's important to talk about it. But essentially, she's apologizing to Asta for what she's been saying. She's kind of realizing that she's been wrong. But this is where we get, like, development of her. She says, "The magic discrimination in the noble realm saddened me, and I hope that all people could be equal someday. That's why I joined the church. However, I found magic-based class and discrimination there as well. No matter how I prayed, nothing changed, and I left for the Forsaken realm as if I were fleeing." And remember that Sister Lily was stated to be, or implied to be, a noble by one of the elves in the Elf Arc when she fought them and tried to stand up for the orphans. So that makes sense. She's a noble, right? And she didn't like how nobles treated people. So that's why she tried to become a nun. And then she realized the church is also messed up. So she leaves the church and goes to the Forsaken realm and goes to Hajj, where she helps raise orphans. So she actually is making a difference. So she is actually a pretty good character in that sense. She wanted to help these kids. And so this, I guess, explains why maybe she is easier to be controlled by Lucius, because Lucius is trying to make everybody equal, as it seems. But she actually does go and delve into Lucius's plans, which is what we've all been waiting for so long. Like, we've been wanting more Lucius, especially, like, me. Like, the start of this arc was insane with, like, the Lucius stuff. I feel like it kind of slowed down with the Land of the Sun, but the Land of the Sun was still really good. But, of course, anytime Lucius gets shown again, it's just immediately just adding more and more anticipation and hype to the series. Lucius says there are 3 days, or this is Lily talking about what Lucius' plan is. There are 3 days left before the final battle in the Clover Kingdom. Before Judgment Day, Lucius is getting ready. So this confirms that 4 days have passed since Asta got bodied by Lucius. Now, I'll need to double check and see how much time passed between Asta being defeated and him landing in the Land of the Sun, because that would just definitely add credence to how strong Asta's gotten. Is if he has been training with the Ryuzen for 4 days, then yeah, he should be a lot stronger, because in canon, Asta has trained and gotten way stronger in a single training session. So if he has 4 days of training against these very strong characters, learning a new technique, it just would further support how strong he's getting. But anyways, and also, a lot of people are worried about the whole 3 days thing, right? That because there's only 3 days before the final battle, that Black Clover's gonna be ending really soon. Just so keep in mind, everybody, that the entire Spade saga is 100 plus chapters, and it took place over like, I believe it was 3 days. So if Tabata can write a 100 chapter saga in 3 days, he could repeat it for this final part. And also, this is 3 days before the final battle. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like at least 50 chapters over these next 3 days, and then it's the final battle. And that final battle is probably going to be a very long arc, like probably at least 50 to 70 chapters. So I'm not worried. This chapter has made me worried a little bit that Black Clover is going to be ending sooner than I thought, but after like looking at everything in totality, I think we definitely have, at the very least, probably like 80 more chapters, maybe a bit more, at the very least. I still think we solidly have another 100 chapters of Black Clover, which means it's good. We got over 2 years left, right? Well, anyways, more about Lucius's plan. Sorry for that tangent, but Lucius is going to combine these Agratis siblings' body, blood, and bone magic with his own soul magic and gain phenomenal power. So that's what he's doing here. I guess this explains why Lily said that Lucius was held up and he couldn't leave at this moment, so that explains it. He needs to take their powers, but it's interesting, right? What exactly is going on? I don't know. I want to know like what is going on with this, right? Because we've seen with this soul magic power how easy it is for him to give people's power, like to give a devil power to somebody. Is it this hard for him to just steal their powers with his soul magic and his devil power that he has and his purified power? I don't know. That's why I think part of the reason why is that it goes beyond just what this chapter says his plans are. Like, this chapter is just the tip of the iceberg for what Lucius is trying to do. But it's stated that he can change human minds and bodies any way he pleases, and he can even create people from nothing. And they say it's really like godlike magic. And it says, and on Judgment Day, he intends to take full control of all the world's magic. So yeah, this essentially would, I guess it depends on what they mean by magic, because that's the thing with Viz, is Viz will use magic and magic power and mana interchangeably all the time, which makes it a bit more confusing. If Lucius is just taking all the world's magic as in magical attributes, this really isn't a scaling implication at all. It just means he has a lot of different abilities. If it's talking about the world's magic power or mana, then this like essentially like further adds backing to the whole planetary Black Clover stuff. So it kind of depends. But I'll talk about this panel right here, because this panel alone has like added a lot of implications for not only power scaling, but this is the Clover continent, right? This is the Clover Kingdom right here. So this would be the heart, diamond. This is the spade. What is that right there? That's a land bridge, guys. So there is a continent above the Spade Kingdom. Right? That's interesting. There's also islands way out here. So there's got to be interesting stuff, right? There's islands over here too. I doubt that this is the Land of the Sun. I'm sure the Land of the Sun's way far away, right? But yeah, that's interesting. This is adding implications that there's other continents, other kingdoms, other peoples, which means possibly other power systems and stuff. And it's just interesting, right? That Tabata, like, he could have moved this highlight stuff. Like, he could have moved this up to here so they only saw the tip of the spade. And then they moved it over here just to more of the ocean. But in my opinion, the fact that Tabata is showing this continent right here, that, you know, this is something that he's probably intending to show. A lot of people are talking about that Black Clover's going to get a sequel, and it's going to be focused on this continent. That's possible. But, yeah, it's definitely, I'm really glad that Tabata finally confirmed, because there's a lot of different secondary sources that have shown that there is something above the Spade Kingdom, and now the actual primary source, the manga, confirms it. So I really like that. Then we get more of Sister Lily crying, and her paladin form is just withering away. She's apologizing, she's helping Lucius, she awakened the five-headed dragon, all of that. And Asta's like just saying, you know, it's okay, it's not your fault. Which is really not her fault. She technically is brainwashed by Lucius' soul magic, so. But Even though she goes unconscious, Lucius or Ryu says that the only way to save her is to defeat Lucius, but she's not dead, which is interesting. I wonder if this will happen to every paladin, if they'll have to defeat them and then they'll be unconscious, which is an interesting implication for defeating the paladins. That like this showed like at least Lily could be turned to the point where she can realize that what she's doing is wrong. But is this because Asta's anti-magic, or is this just because she was beaten? And Asta's, like, charisma and the logic of the situation is what turned her. That's what I'm interested to see later on. Like, is this just anti-magic messing with the paladin stuff? Or is it also her realizing that she's wrong? Because that'll be interesting for... If it's the anti-magic part, then it's going to be a lot harder to convince the paladins that Lucius is actually in the wrong. But... Sister Lily's beginning to be healed by Fumito, and Asta is now even more determined, and he's going to bring down Lucius. And to start, he's going to cut down the dragon. So now it's going to be Asta facing off against the five-headed dragon. Here is something that I actually just thought of, right? This five-headed dragon is like the equivalent of the ancient demon, of Demon Lick, essentially, to the Clover Kingdom. The legendary large beast that was going to destroy the country, blah, 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 blah. A legendary hero stopped the dragon, blah, 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 blah. One of my main issues with the Spade Saga is that Asta fought the ancient demon. Everybody saw him defeat it, kill it, save the country, and we didn't get anything for that. We didn't get him getting recognized for that. We didn't get the populace, a true reaction to that. Even though Asta just repeated an action that made the Wizard King a legend. And he repeated it, and we didn't get anything for it, of anything honoring what he did. And I hope that Tabata does it differently with the Land of the Sun. The Land of the Sun sees Asta defeat this five-headed dragon. Hopefully, he gets a little bit of recognition, right? Sorry, guys, I haven't really been reading the chat. I was just going through the chapter, but yeah, that's just my initial like thoughts on the chapter. Kind of went through, summarized it, gave my like thoughts and review. It was a good chapter. I want to see what you guys thought. Okay, 56% great, 31%, or I just went 55% great, 32% good, 11% okay, and 3% bad. So this one is, I think, a less well liked than the other chapters. It's still like very well liked, but I think last one was only 1 or 2% bad. Now it's 3%, and okay was even lesser. But I mean, it's whatever. No, I know that the Clover Kingdom hates demons, but he still saved them, and like it's not even that, right? It's the fact that we don't see anything. Like, it would have been really cool to see a nuanced chapter of. Well, you know what it would probably be? It would probably be the peasants of the Clover Kingdom having a lot of respect for Asta being a peasant, even if he is using devil power, that saved them. But it also would be interesting to see the people of maybe the common realm or the noble realm, where it's a bit more split, where it's like, okay, yeah, he saved the kingdom, but he's also this dirty peasant who's using devil power. Like, we didn't get anything, though. It would have been a really interesting thing to show the different reactions. Because I think that even if Asta's using devil power, there would still be a large part of the population of the Clover Kingdom, not necessarily a majority, but a large part, that would have a lot of admiration for him for doing that. So, but we don't get anything for it. That's like my issue. One of my issues with the Spade Saga is Asta literally repeated an action from Lumiere, the first Wizard King, and we don't really get much from it. Besides, like, our own, as fans, knowing that Asta did it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't need to be that everybody likes it, but it's just weird that it's not addressed. I did want to go back and look at how, because I believe there is a statement that can show us how long Asta's been training in the Land of the Sun. Because I think Ryu said something about when he first met Riot, or when Ryu first met Asta, he said something about that he had 7 days or whatever, and that would prove that Asta pretty quickly got transported to the Land of the Sun, and that would mean he's been training for 4 days. But I don't know if that's actually been stated or if that's just me remembering. If anybody remembers that, let me know.